There we go. Welcome, everyone. We are here to cast NGS Season 11 Division Southeast BG 40 Seconds to Feed, taking on Phoenix Rising Topaz. We are we're just waiting on this lobby for the readies to come out here. We're about ready to get into the game here, but let's go over those map selections to kick things off and how that coin toss played out here. Now, interestingly enough, Phoenix Rising Topaz won the coin toss, and usually we see teams go with first pick, but they're taking map pick tonight. So I'm excited to see what sneaky strategies they have planned here for the first match tonight. That's going to give first pick to BG 40 Seconds to Feed. Those map bans tonight coming out here are Dragonshire and Battlefield of Eternity over on the side of BG, and PRT is taking away Braxis Holdout and Infernal Shrines. So those ones off the board. We won't be seeing this seeing those maps in this best of 3 series. To kick things off, we're going to Volskaya Foundry. Like I said, I'm excited because I think this is the first time I've casted a game this season where a team's opted for map pick over first pick. So I am immediately thinking they have some kind of strategy that they're going to run here, or some kind of comp they specifically like running on this map. Let's go ahead and give them the ready here, and we can look to get into game number 1. Those readies are out, so we're going to jump right into the draft. No delays here. In just a moment. All right. We are going here. Now, in terms of these players on the teams, I am familiar. I'm familiar with a couple of them in the lobby, but there's a lot of players here that I'm not sure what they prefer to draft going into this series. So we're going to learn a little bit as the night goes what some priority picks might be for these teams, who plays what roles, and you know, maybe some target banning is going to show up as well. Now, BG 40 Seconds to Feed did get first pick here, because as I said, Phoenix Rising Topaz taking a map pick when once they won the coin toss there. So that means we're going to see first ban over on the side of BG 40 Seconds to Feed as well. I really like when teams use up the full timer there. Like, just really take your time with the draft. There's no need to rush through it. You have that like 20 plus seconds to talk about and lock in your picks and bans if you want to really you know, make some well thought out decisions here. But to kick it off, we're going to see the Sonya ban over on the side of BG 40 Seconds, and Phoenix Rising Topaz, no delays there, locking the Chromie out of this match. BG's 40 Seconds taking Cassia out of the pool now. And Sonya is very strong in this current meta. Chromie, she's been nerfed a little bit, but still pretty popular pickup. I'm not too surprised to see her banned. She does provide a quite decent amount of poke here at the objective. And Cassia still, even with the nerfs that she's seen in the last couple of patches, she's still a very strong hero. And to finish off those first round of bans, the Gazlo as well being banned out here by Phoenix Rising Topaz. That's another one, just like Gazlo grab bombs can be such a big playmaker. And he's such a great hero for objectives where you're going to kind of have to set up on the point. You know, you can get his turrets in there, just create a little bit of extra hassle for a team to have to deal with. The Mephisto pickup here over on the side of BG 40 Seconds to Feed to kick things off. All right, Raynor Garrosh getting locked in by Phoenix Rising Topaz. Like Garrosh lately, there was a time where he was very dominant in the meta, but he's fallen off a little bit lately, and there's just a lot that can shut him down from trying to engage for tosses here. So I'm interested to see what value they can get off the Garrosh. Raynor in general, just a well-rounded pick. He's great at taking camps. He's great at, you know, sustained damage in team fights. He has interrupts built into his baseline basic abilities with his Q. Some people think he's kind of boring to play, but, you know, you can have a little bit of flair bringing a Raynor onto the team. Even if it does just feel like he's point and click. I like the Johanna pickup and Tetcher locking in the Diva here. Now, I'm not surprised at all to see Jinxie playing Johanna. She's pretty well known as a tank main. Johanna, I just feel like Johanna is a solid all-around tank. It's going to be great, too, because she does have that iron skin to walk forward, potentially eat Garrosh throws, or if she gets tossed in, just a little bit of extra shielding to get her out of there into safety. It's also providing blinds onto the Raynor, which are going to be great here as well. Now, Diva is another target here. As long as her mech is looking pretty healthy, if she gets thrown in, she can just boost right back out again. So I'm looking for something maybe over on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz that is going to help lock down those targets that Garrosh are going to be throwing in. Whether it's like a Malfurion Root, a Brightwing Polymorph, a Thrall Brute, maybe? Deckard stuns and roots? Could work. There's a little bit better combos, but Deckard's also one of those heroes that's great for kind of setting up on the point. Raynor isn't boring to play, but his character is what happens if you select a default. Yeah, he's very vanilla. I will say that. Oh, look at this. A Sergeant Hammer pickup here by BG, 40 seconds to feed. And then we have the Anduin pickup as well, which is going to pair great into the Garrosh. He's going to have that Leap of Faith up to be able to pull out any toss targets back to safety. Raynor feels really solid to play right now. Self-reliant, solid damage, burst potential, auto-attack, resets. Yeah, and then that's the thing. And, you know, picking up a Raynor isn't giving away too much of your draft strategy either if you pick up an early Raynor. We had Li Ming over on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz to finish off their draft over there. You know, I will say, you have to stay a while and listen from Deckard to potentially just set up easy combos from Ming, but sometimes you do have to take into consideration just kind of the counter synergy that might be happening here with Garrosh tosses and Li Ming throwing her combos out, that they really need to kind of communicate when the tosses are happening and what's going to occur so that she's not tossing orbs in front of Garrosh and Garrosh is throwing her target behind him outside of what she just put out for damage. So, because really, you know, his toss and then just turn around his stun is the one thing that's going to lock a character down for her to have just easy combos to hit. Besides Deckard, stay a while and listen. Deckard has his stuns as well, but, you know, a little bit easier to avoid those if you can avoid the slows and manage to just sidestep the follow-up stun. We'll have to see how it plays out, though, because, you know, this Deckard could just pog and, like, really set up combos for the Li Ming. I think the Sergeant Hammer is such an interesting pickup too because she has those unstoppables she can talent into as well, so it's not like Garrosh can necessarily just walk in and toss the Sergeant Hammer and that's like how they're just going to deal with it. Like, there's not a lot of, I don't think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for Garrosh to really get a target that he wants to toss in because Diva can just boost herself out. Jinxie can just drop her Iron Skin and walk out. Let's introduce these teams before I get into too much more detail. But on the left-hand side, we have BG, 40 seconds to feed with us. Snag and, oh my gosh, I said this like 5 times preparing it because I'm like, this name's going to be hard. I'm going to like not be able to pronounce it once we're in there. Snagananas. There we go. Snagananas on the Sergeant Hammer here. Jinxie Cat playing the Johanna. Tetcher playing Diva. McGiblets on the Mephisto. And Linehouse on Anduin. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, we have Phoenix Rising Topaz. Lothar on Raynor. Bishop Mist on the Garrosh. Shogun Misa playing Li Ming, Polka Flute on the Deckard, and in that off lane, we have Jobber playing Thrall. Thrall already splitting off pretty early there to get that soak in the bottom lane, so Diva has rotated down now to match him. Garrosh walking forward and taking a lot of damage just from that, you know, not just the Sergeant Hammer. Man, you know how often I cast a Sergeant Hammer? Like, never. It's so weird to say her name. Like, I almost have to think about it. But just, you know, he's stepping forward into Sergeant Hammer's range, taking quite a bit of damage just to throw out a stun there and not much more. Kind of just giving free damage onto him at this point. As well, the Mephisto poke just chunking him down. We do have those camps up and available here, so we're going to see the Sergeant Hammer and Anduin rotate over to pick up this turret camp over on the side of BG. 40 seconds to feed. And Phoenix Rising looking to get theirs out as well. Raynor and Poke Flute working on that. Let's take a look at those level 1 talents while we're at it here. Garrosh did talent into the Warbreaker here, looking to get those stacks on Groundbreaker. Currently sitting at 3 of the needed, I believe it's 15 to finish that one off. And Thrall going with the Echo of Elements. So he's looking to get those last hits on minions with his Chain Lightning. You know, a lot of the times Thralls now in the off lane will talent into the percent damage at level 1. But could be personal preference. It could just be down to the fact that their team's more looking to play a sit back and poke at them with Sergeant Hammer sieged up. So you have that Echo of Elements quest to give you an extra charge on your Chain Lightning to provide a little bit more poke as well. And that way you don't have to worry about stepping into Garrosh range to get value off your level 1 talent. Or sorry, you don't have to worry about stepping into Hammer's range, I should say, and to get value off your level 1 talent. You can just kind of poke her down from a distance. Raynor looking to pick up that siege camp over on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz now, and over on the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. We have the Sergeant Hammer and Anduin working on getting the camp here again. That Biotic Emitter's still up here, so the team's kind of keeping an eye on it on their rotations. And for the most part, XP pretty even at the moment. Didn't pick the hammer skin with the suspenders. Isn't that a great skin? I really wanted to cosplay that one when it came out, but I just, it came out so close to BlizzCon and when I would have wanted to cosplay it that I just didn't do it. Condemn going out, connecting onto Lothair and Bishop here. They're able to push back the members of BG's 40 seconds to feed. 2% and channeling here. That objective is secured for now. Deckard's setting up a lot of potions here to get this area all ready for the next team fight and engage. See, the thing is, with the Sergeant Hammer comp, it's great if you can kind of set up and already zone them out. But, oh, DNA Galaxy, thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a fantastic stream. I think you're doing scrims tonight, if I remember correctly. So I hope your scrims went well. Or in-houses. Oh, we have Tetra getting a little bit caught out of position there. We are going to see First Blood go over to the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz. You have that Sergeant Hammer kind of on the flank, sieged up, trying to get a little bit of damage out. But Ming is ready just to poke her down. And they're going to continue to hold this point. 80% and climbing here on this first Triglav Protector. We do have D.Va back up in 2 seconds, but it's not going to be enough time for them to walk in here and contest this unless they want to try it for V5. So this first Triglav will be going over to the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz. You talked about it on the last episode of Q for Fun. Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, I cosplayed Sergeant Hammer like the first BlizzCon I ever went to. So when they came out with that one, I was like, oh, that's super cute. And I wanted to do it for that. We are going to see them take this Triglav Protector mid. Usually we see teams take this top, try to open up that wall, get the fountain down for next objective, and set themselves up in a position to, you know, have an advantage going in here. But they're going to get that mid wall down, and now they're rotating top. Still about 50% health left on this Triglav. They're now going to start to siege in here, look to try and get this fountain down. But this Triglav Protector is falling quite quickly. Does look like that top fountain's going to stay alive for now. The members of Phoenix Rising Topaz kind of backed up. We're going to see the Triglav fall out in just a second here. Welcome everyone from DNA Galaxy. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Jazzalene. I cast a lot of Heroes of the Storm. It's pretty much all I do here on these channels. And I'm the founder and creator of Girls Gang Squad, so I also run all of that stuff as well. But right now we're casting NGS, Season 11, Division B Southeast. BG 40 seconds of feed, taking on Phoenix Rising Topaz. Do you have those turret camps back up? So we're going to see Phoenix Rising Topaz go ahead and lock theirs in. Does look like D.Va and Anduin looking to finish up theirs as well here. This is leaving that mid lane a little vulnerable. They did walk in, get some damage out onto Jinxie Cat here. Fortunately, no invade onto the turret. They're going to be able to grab that before the invade happens. Level 10s are online here for Phoenix Rising. We do have Hyperion picked up for Raynor, Disintegrate from the Li Ming, Earthquake from Thrall, Garrosh going with Warlord's Challenge, and Deckard's still holding off on his ult. I think it should be Stay a While and Listen, just to kind of set up the Li Ming for some easy kill potential here. Li Ming getting rotated onto by Jinxie. The Blessed Shield comes out, but the team's not quite there. But there's the ultimate from Hammer, managing to get the pick off onto Li Ming, and she's going to go down. However, the Biotic Emitter was secured by Phoenix Rising Topaz. They dropped the turret to be able to pick up the healing toy there off of it, the Biotic Emitter. But all in all, pretty good trade here for BG. 40 seconds to feed those ultimates. We saw them Blessed Shield from the Joanna, and we saw the Blunt Force Gun coming out from Sergeant Hammer here, but those other ultimates, Stirrance of Hate getting picked up by Mephisto, Anduin going with Holy Word Salvation, and D.Va with the Micro Missiles. Holy Word Salvation is another one that's kind of, you know, you don't typically see Anduins run that because it's so easy to interrupt. Do have Ming trying to provide a little bit of poke onto this Sergeant Hammer. She just kind of sieging up, starting to help clear this lane out. Ended up doing 11 hours today. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I guess it's pretty pretty late for you then. All right, we do have that Hyperion coming out in the top lane by Raynor. They have that siege camp also pushing forward. So now this fountain is looking like it's at risk of going down before this objective. You have the damage coming out. Raynor stepping forward to finish that off. So they are not going to have that to kind of fall back to, reset, and re-engage at this next objective here. They are going to clear up this siege camp. And meanwhile, there's a rotation down onto Tetcher. He is able to use his boosters to get on out of there and managing to survive. Didn't need to worry about using his mech explosion either. So he's going to have that going into this next Triglav objective as well. I will say Thrall has been soaking this bottom lane the entire time. They're a little bit ahead on XP over on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz, so hopefully they don't miss that soak down here. But it is about to crash, and I'm not sure if we're going to see D.Va come down to catch that or just head top to help her team out. Yeah, see, we're seeing D.Va rotate top. So there's a bunch of soak that was just missed in that bottom lane for BG. 40 seconds to feed. They aren't too far behind. Definitely something can make up for, but they're missing those level 13 talent tiers right now. There's the Blessed Shield out from Jinxie. We have the Durance to follow it up, and the Sergeant Hammer ult on top of that. They get the pick onto Thrall. That Biotic Emitter dropped now by Phoenix Rising Topaz. Here comes a mech explosion from D.Va. It is knocked back there by the Raynor. They don't manage to hit anything with it, but they are pushing back the members of Phoenix Rising Topaz. Do have Li Ming stepping back to hit the fountain here. And another 13 seconds till Thrall is up and available to help his team contest. Deckard is also setting up his potions here, ready for the re-engage. He does have those bigger potions now with that level 13 pickup. So that's going to help his team be able to just get some nice juicy heals when they need it. Tetra broke off to catch some soak in the mid and is back up now to help his team. No mech explosion for this next engage, and a lot of ults still down on the side of BG. 40 seconds to feed. The only thing they have up is that Anduin Holy Word Salvation here. So Phoenix Rising Topaz taking this opportunity to go for the engage. You have that Durance to just come back up. They manage to land that. The Holy Sword Salvation comes off, and they get the full value out of that. But Mephisto does go down in the meantime. They're also going to get the pick onto Joanna, but not for free this time. We're going to see the Garrosh getting picked off as well. Li Ming going in, trying to get another kill there on that D.Va, but not enough damage to secure anything. And they're going to start the channel up once again here. 60%, almost 70%, and climbing. BG. 40 seconds to feed, knowing they can't contest this anymore, going to rotate, look for value elsewhere on that map, pick up this turret, and get ready for the defense here. You know, this map, typically, those early Triglav protectors, you can actually kind of just fight past them, and even later in the game, you can fight past them depending on if you have the right comp. But for BG. 40 seconds to feed, it's a little bit awkward for them to fight past them with the Sergeant Hammer because they just want to siege up and try to do their damage that way. Jobber coming down for the rotation. Oh my god, these Sergeant Hammer ultimates are just picking off people left and right here. We're going to see Thrall going down to the BFG once again here. Meanwhile, though, that Triglaw Protector is getting some pretty good value in the top lane. They've already destroyed the fort. They're now onto this keep wall. And D.Va's going to continue to siege bottom as the rest of the members back to help with this defense. Level 16s are online for Phoenix Rising Topaz here. We have Garrosh rotating in, getting dismounted by Jinxie with a Condemn. Lothar taking a little bit of damage as well there. Condemn coming out from Jinxie. Lothar getting low. We have the Blessed Shield going out as well. On top of that, Endurance. They drop the Biotic Emitter, but it's not going to be enough. We're going to see Raynor fall here. The rest of the members backing off now, and the Holy Word Salvation coming out from Anduin to keep his team healed up. Level 16s are online now for BG 40 seconds to feed as well, and D.Va did manage to secure that bottom fort while his team was defending. Stun attempt from the Garrosh there. Doesn't quite connect. Ming just chucking the orbs in. We're having the tank kind of step forward to eat those. She did, Ming going full orb build here. And here's Thrall on the flank, drops the Earthquake. The rest of the team walking in, trying to get those stuns and tosses. But unfortunately for Phoenix Rising Topaz, that's going to be an ult out of Thrall, and they didn't manage to get anything off of that. So you Ming taking orb build here, so if you can make sure to, if you're going to eat an orb, probably try to eat it at a closer range distance so she doesn't get the cooldown on it is best here. And so you take a little bit less damage as well. Thrall's pushing in that bottom lane, managing to get some nice damage onto the front wall of this bottom fort. If they can defend this will be pretty good going into the next objective, because they'll have that fountain up to kind of back off, reset at, and re-engage on this bottom objective. Meanwhile, Phoenix Rising Topaz has their entire fort down there, so no fountain for them. Do you have that turret camp coming back up here for BG 40 seconds to feed? Look at this invade from Phoenix Rising Topaz. See what BG 40 seconds to feed is going to do about it. They do have most of their ultimates up here. This is a nice choke point for that Durance. Great Durance coming out from Mephisto here. He's going to get tossed in, but they get the kill onto Raynor, and Thrall goes down as well. Garrosh, the only one left on this point. D.Va did have her mech explosion up. She's going to save it, though. Linehouse able to walk away with barely any health there, and they do manage to defend this camp and get 3 kills off of that in favor of BG 40 seconds to feed. So the camp did get picked up, by Phoenix Rising, but they managed to get a nice team fight in there and get some kills. So they're going to make a play for the Biotic Emitter here. Both teams having that siege camps pushing top right now. One thing to keep in mind is Phoenix Rising Topaz does have those periodic catapults that are going to be spawning in the top lane. So just over time, that lane's going to go in favor of Phoenix Rising heading into this next objective. Something to keep in mind, because this next objective obviously is on the bottom of the map. So quite a far distance away for them to just be able to clear it up if they're going to be fighting over it and contesting it for a long period of time.
A protector is almost ready. Access its terminal when I bring it online.
At this point, BG 40 seconds to feed is pretty close to hitting their 20s. If I were them, I would maybe try to play this a little bit more safe, look to get those level 20s, and then try to take the fight up a talent tier. I wouldn't want to be giving Phoenix Rising Topaz a chance to find that fight beforehand. Ming chucking out the orbs. We have Sergeant Hammer using her boosters to get on out of there, avoid the toss from Garrosh. But they're going to hit level 20 first. They really don't need to be forcing anything. Out goes the Durance, out comes the BFG from the Sergeant Hammer, and they're not able to get anything off of that. The Blessed Shield was also popped there, so that's 3 ultimates down, that they could have possibly just saved to wait for those level 20s. But let's see how this plays out, because nobody did fall here. There's been opportunities for Phoenix Rising to try and take that fight before level 20s are online, but they haven't succeeded so far. D.Va and Thrall are in that mid lane facing each other. So it's a 4v4 right now at the moment. We're going to see those ultimates about to come back online for the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. We have the Durance back up. 5 seconds for the... Oh, here's the Durance. It goes out. It does not connect. We have Blessed Shield up in one moment. And the Sergeant Hammer ultimate is up in another 5 seconds here. And they'll be ready to go. Level 20 is online for both teams now. We got the Blessed Shield upgrade for Johanna.
Team has destroyed the fort.
That mid fort falling to Thrall right now, and the channel has started here for BFG. Big Blessed Shield coming out onto the Li Ming. We have the Sergeant Hammer follow up to secure that kill, and now Garrosh taking a ton of damage. The Mephisto has that level 16 online, so it's doing % damage now as well, just shredding through that Garrosh. A 2-for-0 in favor of BG 40 seconds to feed. Now, I did say keep in mind there's going to be those periodic Kata spawning in the top lane, so keep an eye on BFG's keep right now. Taking Kata damage, there's a siege camp on the way there as well as they decide to siege up this bottom keep. Now, Triglav, at this point, with death timers where they are, is likely going to go over to the side of BG 40 seconds to feed, so it's not a bad idea just to open up this map, and they can be looking to try to end the game, not so worried about what's going on in this top lane. Hi, Smiley, how are you? Hammer just sieging up, getting that front wall down. So they're in a good position just to run it down with this Triglav. We are at that level 20 mark, so these Triglavs, starting to get a little bit more of a hassle to deal with. We're going to have Anduin and Mephisto in this Triglav Protector. The Sergeant Hammer continuing to siege up, and this keep is being made short work of here. Diva's rotating down now to help out with the defense, or with the push here. And we have the Hyperion coming out to help out with the defense. There goes the root. The Unstoppable pop by Sergeant Hammer now. Garrosh might be looking in here to try and get a toss onto her now that it's out. There's the taunt, but the leap of faith from Anduin to try to keep her alive. She does go down, though. Durance comes out from the Mephisto. Follow-up damage, trying to be there. We have that Anduin Holy Word Salvation going off there as well. And now the chase is on for the members of BG 40 seconds to feed. They got the pick on Hammer, and now goes Anduin. Diva in that Triglav Protector, just trying to do what she can to kind of just, turn around, push some people back, and let her team disengage. They managed to get the keep, but that's all they're going to get off this Triglav, with 2 members down on the side of BG 40 seconds to feed here. Turret camp is up for them, so we could see an invade. We could just see Phoenix Rising Topaz look to finish off. That top keep is pretty low, and the death timer is still another 20 seconds, 35 seconds for the other 2 members to come up over on BG 40 seconds to feed. They're going to grab that siege camp while they're at it. Rainer's stepping forward to poke down that fountain, and Ming is here as well. Just all 5 members collapsing onto this top keep. Meanwhile, BG 40 seconds to feed, picking up their turret camp and just letting this keep go down.
Blue team's core is under attack.
Potentially a core attempt coming out here. Might be a bit greedy. We do have that mech explosion up. We have most of the ultimates up over on the side, but we have the Durance come out here. Does not connect, so that's going to be down for another 40 seconds. Blessed Shield's still up if they want to try and force something, but Phoenix Rising Topaz on the retreat here, heading towards that biotic emitter camp. I really like to see, those Durances held for when the Blessed Shield comes out. I think that the Blessed Shield just really sets it up that you're going to hit your Durance if you just wait to pair those together. All right. So Phoenix Rising has a couple little toys on their side to head towards for this next objective. 1 turret, 1 biotic emitter. BG 40 seconds to feed did manage to pick up their turret while they were losing their top keep, I should say. Sergeant Hammer just walking forward, getting a little bit of damage out there. Did pop that Unstoppable, so needs to be a bit careful here. Mech Explosion is still up on the Diva. I think if we could kind of see them, the fights that we've seen BG 40 seconds to feed be successful in are the ones that we've seen them use Blessed Shield to set up for the Durance. Right now they have all of that up, so it's just set out the Blessed Shield, follow it up with the Durance, and you have the Sergeant Hammer and Mech Explosion from Diva, Sergeant Hammer ult and Mech Explosion from Diva, to just kind of get everyone that's caught there. We'll see how this plays out. We're basically at the point in the game, this really could go either way. So if they take a team fight that's not favorable for them, the enemy team just goes to the open lane that doesn't have a keep and ends the game. So mostly right now, these teams just trying to play it safe. A little bit risky here. They have vision of Li Ming and Thrall in the bottom lane, so they're going to go for the engage. The Blessed Shield comes out, connects onto Garrosh and the Rainer. Rainer getting slowed by that Q from the Johanna, but a beautiful stay a while and listen just to disengage the entire thing. 3 ultimates down, 4 ultimates. Technically, if you want to count the micro missiles, it'll be back up in a few seconds here. Over on the side of BG's 40 seconds to feed, they're going to make a play for their turret camp. However, Phoenix Rising Topaz didn't have to use a lot of ultimates. It was just the stay a while and listen that went down here. Here's the Hyperion coming out from Rainer's, the Unstoppable from the Sergeant Hammer. Not enough to get her out of there. McGlipillet's a little bit low as well and having to back off. We have that Holy Word Salvation from Anduin to try and keep his team healed up, and for now it's just a 1 pick onto the Sergeant Hammer, but a couple members of BG 40 seconds to feed getting pretty low here. Phoenix Rising Topaz managing to pull off the successful fight there, getting the pick they needed to give them a little bit of advantage at this point in the game. Now, still 4 members up, so it doesn't look like they're going to try to go end through top, but if they were able to get, 1 or 2 more people there, that would have been potentially game going over to the side of Phoenix Rising. So they are going to just continue to channel this Triglaw Protector. Another 25 seconds until Hammer comes up, and they're going to pick up what they can on the map. So there's another turret coming out for Phoenix Rising Topaz. And, the only thing they really have to worry about is just Kata's starting to stack up in that bottom lane where they've lost their keep. The Sergeant Hammer is still not up. This is a really risky fight for BG 40 seconds to be walking into here. Topaz doing a really good job of interrupting Anduin. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we mentioned this earlier, but that's the reason you don't really see Anduin's pick Holy Word Salvation that often, is it's just not a reliable ult with so many ways to interrupt. All right, Tetcher walking forward onto this point. They are currently sitting at 95%, but they backed off now to clean up lanes. They have that siege camp pushing top in favor of BG 40 seconds to feed, so that's going to help a little bit with those Katas that are going to be spawning in the top lane for them. Looks like, BG 40 seconds to feed wants some more. Li Ming's on that top camp. Nah, they're going to back off instead. They changed their minds here. Potentially. I think, too, it's just partly the positioning of how some of these fights have gone down. Some of the early fights, they had Sergeant Hammer set up nicely for Anduin to hit just a nice Holy Word Salvation in the safety of his backline. Some of these other team fights, Phoenix Rising Topaz has really been pushing in, forcing the fight, which puts Anduin in a little bit more of a riskier position for popping these Holy Word Salvations. We have the Durance come out, doesn't quite connect. The Holy Word Salvation goes off. Gonna get some pretty decent value out of that one, and down goes Thrall. Blessed Shield comes out there. Garrosh also stunned and out of position, but here's the Stay a While and Listen from Deckard, and they're gonna manage to get the counter kill onto Joanna. Look at all those rubies and giant potions on the point here if Lothair pushes in there, but he's in trouble. The stun comes out from Anduin. Another Holy Word Salvation. It gets almost immediately interrupted though, and now the double throw from Garrosh. They get the pick onto Sergeant Hammond, are looking for a little bit more. Li Ming has those resets, but also quite low on mana. Going in, trying to get the Mephisto down now. Anduin is in there, trying to keep an eye on both Mephisto and the Diva, who hasn't left the point here. We're going to see Mephisto, though, looking like he's going to fall. This is a 3-for-1 in favor of Phoenix Rising Topaz. They're going to secure this objective, and top lane is looking pretty juicy just to walk in there to try to end. I like this, though. Look at Diva and Anduin. They're like, okay, you got us. You won the objective, but let me just go maybe pressure your core and question what you should be doing now. Li Ming does come back to help defend. Those Katas pushing forward, but now Baby Diva just here to help with these Katas to clear the lane. A little squishy Baby Diva taking on the Li Ming. However, she's full orb build. She doesn't have that Calamity just to get in her face and get her down that way, but they're going to have 3 members to retreat and defend their core here. It's also going to cause BG 40 seconds to feed to have some staggered deaths on their healer and the Diva. But let's see if they can defend this Triglav. I mean, Sergeant Hammer's up. Now Mephisto in about 40 seconds, and this is just a really healthy Triglav. I don't see this working out here. This is going to be game number 1 going over to the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz, but what a close series. I'm so excited for game 2. I hope we get a game 3 out of this. GG's and well played. All right, let's take a look at this match summary screen. Look at this Li Ming damage here. 133k, just pumping it out there with the orb build. I mean, if there's like a time that orb build is maybe like acceptable to go, probably when you're looking for something that can poke a Sergeant Hammer that's sieged up. Seems like a good time to go it. Take a look at the talents here coming out. I'm going to leave this screen up for a moment. I'm just going to step away for a second here to go grab myself a glass of water, and I will be right back. All right. I'm back. Let's talk a little bit about these talents very quickly because the next lobby's up. I mostly just want to say I think that BG 40 Seconds to Feed had a really good Wombo ultimate potential here. The Blessed Shield setting up for the Durance, and then the Mech Explosion and the Blunt Force Gun from Sergeant Hammer to throw just on top of all of that damage. Could have worked really well. There was just a lot of times where we didn't see the Blessed Shield set up for the Durance, and a Durance would go out and miss. So if I would say one thing that could have been a little bit better there from BGF 40 Seconds of Feed, just have that, make sure to have that Blessed Shield or at least a Condemn be there to set up the Durances before trying to use the ability there, and I think we would have seen those fights turn a little bit differently, but it was a very, very close game. I think both teams played that pretty well here, 11-12 in kills. I'm super excited to see where we go for game number 2, and if we're going to have any more unique picks in tonight's draft. So let's go ahead and get into this next lobby here. And I'll update you guys on the map pick in just a moment. All right. They have not set who picked this map yet here, but I can update our score and bring you over to where we're going for game number 2. I just don't know who selected this map quite yet. Hopefully that'll be updated in a moment here. But for game number 2, we are going to be going to Tomb of the Spider Queen. As soon as I know who picked that, I'll update that for you guys to see. If you guys are just tuning in here, you missed a pretty close game number 1 here on Volskaya Foundry. That one was picked by Phoenix Rising Topaz, and they managed to squeeze in the win there. Just taking a moment to also update some of my notes before we get into this lobby, so. Okay. So it does look like this is picked by... This map pick is by BG 40 Seconds to Feed. So they would have been given first pick or map pick option after losing game number 1. Looks like first pick's over to the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz, meaning they've opted for map pick here. I'm going to let them know that I'm ready. And we can get into game number 2 in just a moment here.
Tomb of the Spider Queen.
All right. So first pick over to the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz, meaning they get first ban once again. And they're sticking with that Chromie ban here. Bless you. Scott's sneezing up a storm. All right, BG 40 seconds to feed. Taking their time with the draft. I like it. Locking in that Sonya for their first ban here. Phoenix Rising Topaz going with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sticking with that Jazzalene ban. Have that last ban of the first ban phase here coming out by BG 40 seconds to feed in just a second. It's gonna be the Garrosh. We saw Phoenix Rising Topaz bring out Garrosh in game number 1, so this one a target ban onto them here. Now first pick is over on the side of Phoenix Rising. They had first pick last game and they had map pick last game. But their first pick priority was the Rainer. Rainer and Garrosh, I believe they locked in first in that first game. So let's see if they're going to switch it up. Oh, okay. I like this. You know what? They're going to grab that Mephisto, which is basically another ban onto BG 40 seconds to feed because they ran Mephisto game number 1. And the Mephisto set up some really nice durances in some of those team fights. So we're going to take that away. The one thing we didn't see banned out this time was Cassia. That was banned in game number 1, but this time with it open, we're going to see Cassia locked in as well as Joanna. So those two will pair very nicely here.
I'm not checking in.
And who better to pair with a Mephisto than an Anna? They're going to pick up the Blaze as well here. Curious to see if the Blaze is going to be offlaning or tanking for Phoenix Rising Topaz here. Into that next ban phase. Looking for probably some kind of sustain over on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz. So maybe get rid of the Rainer, since that's something that they played game number 1. But they're going to go with the Melthiel ban. So when I see Melthiel bans coming out, I'm thinking a few things here. You know, Cho'Gall is always on my mind. That's something that they could definitely still run over on the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. It's a small map, so having two players in one body doesn't mean you're going to miss too much soak here. But the other thing that's pretty popular are those like double bruiser comps these days, or just double frontline comps. So just taking away the Melthiel and taking away that % damage hero that can kind of chunk everyone down over time is not a bad play here. It could just be that they didn't want to have to worry about someone on Phoenix Rising Topaz taking Melthiel, though, because they already locked in the Anna, and you know the nano boosted Melthiel is pretty nasty to deal with. So if they knew someone played Melthiel over on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz, it could have just been a target ban to avoid that interaction. Mephisto already a great nano boost target here, though. All right, so it is going to be the main tank Blaze there. Leoric getting locked in for the offlane. Rainer, well, likely for the offlane. Some people would run a main tank Leoric. Most probably not, though, so we'll probably see him in the offlane. And we have Rainer as well locked in for Phoenix Rising Topaz going into game number 2. Played the Rainer in game number 1, came out on top, so let's see if it's going to work for them again here. You know, I was thinking there's a chance too that BG 40 seconds to feed wanted the Leoric to run the dirty bathtub combo, you know, the Entomb Eternal Feast from the Orphea. So the Leoric is another great pickup just as a denial to a comp that potentially BG 40 seconds to feed was trying to run here. All right. So we're going to have Jinxie Cat playing Uther and Tetcher on the Joanna. A little bit of a switch up there. I think they're probably putting Jinxie in the off lane, if I had to guess. So I might see her picking up that level 1 quest with the basic attacks that Uther has. Just to sit down there and auto. We'll see how this works, though. Like, fortunately, Tomb of the Spider Queen's not a map where your offlaner needs to double soak or anything, so you don't need to have the best wave clear in your offlane. It's a second healer. It's I mean, it's an offlane Uther, I think. It's gonna be interesting, that's for sure. Typically, you see him either like in the healer or in the tank role. This time, he's maybe doing a hybrid. We'll have to see. I know Jinxie is a big Uther fan, so maybe this is something that they just like to run occasionally. I think maybe they were probably going to be trying for the Leoric, and it kind of got shut down. But let's see what we have here. BG 40 seconds to feed on the left-hand side. Jinxie Cat playing the Uther Linehouse on Deckard, McGiblets on the Orphea, Tetcher on Joanna, and Snag and Nanas on the Cassia. Over on the right-hand side, it's going to be Phoenix Rising Topaz. Bishop Mist on Blaze, Lothair on the Raynor, Jobber playing Leoric, Shogun Misa on the Mephisto, and Pokeflute playing Anna. You think it's going to be offlane Joe? Maybe. I mean, potentially. We'll just have to see. I feel like I've seen Jinxie run Uther in the offlane and just sit down there and stack up her auto attack quest if she went that. She didn't go that, though. She went wave late at level 1. All right. Let's see how it plays out. Who are they sending down? All right, chat, you called it. Joanna's in the offlane into Leoric. Interesting pickup for sure. All right, I'm going to just kind of see both these teams. Just the usual play here. The 4-man rotates between mid and top. The offlaners do their thing in the bottom. We had Leoric just sneak up to check things out, but he's going to walk right back down into the bottom lane. Completely missed the Deckard was there. You know what, though? I kind of like when people shake up the standard, you know, tank, bruiser, 2 DPS, and a healer comps here. So I don't mind it. It's going to be interesting for sure. That top wave is crashing, so they do need to rotate to catch the soak there. Uther getting stunned by Blaze. Potions being tossed out by Linehouse to keep Jinxie alive. She has those self-heals as well. She's going to be a pretty hard target to kill. She's going to walk away, and her teammates do manage to grab that soak in the top lane. Meanwhile, Cassia's rotated bottom right now. She's picking up that bottom Siege Giant camp as Joanna pushes forward in that lane. We have that Drain Hope out onto Tetcher. Leoric keeping himself pretty healed up. To see Joanna step down to just help finish off this camp real quickly so Cassia can join up with the 4-man once again. Here's McGiblets trying to turn in 16 gems, but gets interrupted by the Mephisto. The Mephisto a little bit out of position here, but just without the Cassia, not quite enough damage on hand there to get the pick. McGiblet's going to be able to cap that XP in this top lane and get those gems as well. Making sure the team's not missing any soak. And we're going to see BG 40 seconds to feed, pulling slightly ahead on the XP right now. Gank attempt here out onto the Blaze, but he's going to go ahead and slide on out of there. And live to see another day here. McGiblet's going for that turn in once again. 17 gems does manage to get those in. So 31 already turned in for the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. They only need another 19 to get this first turn in. There's another few gems turned in as well. Phoenix Rising Topaz did pick up their Bruiser camp, though. That's pretty much evened out the XP for the most part. We're going to see this start to collapse onto this mid fort. Does need to be cleared up. You know, there's a stun going out onto Raynor. A sleep dart from the Anna to help with the disengage and let Raynor just walk away. They lost a lot of health off their front wall here. And one thing to keep in mind when the enemy team has already taken their bruiser camp and yours is still up, it might be a better idea just to clear the bruiser camp first so that they can't get as much value out of the one pushing mid. If you split off to take the bruiser camp while they're pushing with their camp in the mid lane, you know, we can see there's a lot of structure damage that happened on that front wall. Lothair a little bit out of position there, but going to be able to walk away. There's the route out from Deckard. No one going down quite yet. Level 7's almost online here for the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. Both teams have turn-in, so it's just a matter of keeping an eye on these turn-in points, seeing if they can manage to find it. Tetcher, McGiblets, and Linehouse looking like they're going to get those gems in. And that's going to be first turn-in here for the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. All right, let's see what kind of value they can get out of this turn-in here. Looks like the team, BG 40 seconds to feed, a little bit split here. Cassia pushing with the mid spider. Orphea and Uther in that top lane. And Deckard kind of just hovering around, trying to keep an eye on where he might be needed. That mid spider is going to go down. And Jinxie Cat looking to maybe catch someone on the rotation. The slows come out from Uther, or from Deckard to help her. They aren't quite able to find anything there. The spider pushing forward, getting a bit of damage onto that front wall. This one's also going to be cleared up for the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz. The only one left up here is the spider in this bottom lane. But the Leora is going to clear that up. And we're going to see a little bit of a fight breaking out in the mid. Cassia stepping forward, trying to put some damage out. We have those Deckard rubies out. She goes in for the fend. Blaze goes in, tries to get the stun, but just out of range. He manages to get out of there. Now Blaze left with no disengage. We're going to see him fall right after the spider phase ends here. Now they do have turn on still available for Phoenix Rising Topaz. They could look for that. They probably want to make sure that their tank is back up to help kind of zone and also be prepared for the turn in here. In terms of XP, BG 40 seconds to feed, a little bit ahead. Jinxie Cat getting quite low, getting poked down by the Rainer. The heals come out from Deckard and herself here to keep her alive. And she's going to be just fine, back up to full health in no time at all. Now, if everything continues as is, level 10s will be online for BG 40 seconds to feed first here. So we might see Phoenix Rising Topaz try to force something before those level 10s are online so that they can get their turn in. They're going to go for that turn in anyway. And they do manage to sneak it in here. So we're going to be seeing spiders in favor of Phoenix Rising Topaz here. Those level 10s very, very close to being online now for BG 40 seconds to feed. So they're going to have this little window where they're going to be able to set up a pretty decent defense for these spiders before level 10s are hit for Phoenix Rising Topaz. They're not too far behind here. And they don't think nothing or anything major is going to happen. There we see level 10s hit now for them. But that top lane pushed in pretty far by Orphea while everything was going down in mid. So that spider's going to be spawning a little bit further back, giving enough time for them to clear up mid spider and then head to top lane for the defense here. Those level 10s we're seeing coming out. Uther picking up Divine Shield. Orphea going with Crushing Jaws. Valkyrie from the Cassia. Stay a while and listen from Deckard. And Falling Sword from the Joanna, which I love because they already have like an Uther that's kind of playing the tank role. There's the nice flank with the Stay a While and Listen. Crushing Jaws coming out. It's going to catch on to Anna and the Mephisto. We're going to see Anna fall. Bunkers drop. The members trying to get into that just to give themselves a little bit of safety there. But Rainer comes out, gets hit by the stun. Mephisto in that back line also looking like he might be in a bit of trouble. We're going to see Cassia be the one to fall here. Mephisto does eventually go down, and Uther's going to go down next. Stun from Blaze connecting onto the members of BG 40 seconds to feed, and they're going to continue on here. Orphea closing that distance, landing a nice chomp onto the Blaze, securing the kill there as well.
It is over for now.
All in all, you know, not a terrible defense, but they do lose their top fort, opening up that top boss lane. So not exactly the best outcome, but they do get some picks that kind of make up for it here. Buy gems. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. They lose the gems over on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz, and that makes it arguably worth it. Still turn in up and available here for BG 40 seconds to feed, so I'm going to try to sneak that in. Meanwhile, Bruiser Camp being picked up now by Phoenix Rising Topaz. We have the stun onto the Leoric. He's just going to go ahead and pop his Wraith Walk and walk away from that engage. Cassia starting up the Bruiser Camp over on the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. And, you know, now they've got those gems back up here. And they're looking to get that turn in once again. This could be a back-to-back turn in for Phoenix Rising Topaz. And look at this. Oh, the Entomb, and she pops the Divine Shield onto herself to walk away and avoid the Durance follow-up onto her. Jinxie Cat managing to survive here. And the rest of Phoenix Rising looking for that turn in once again. Only 2 more gems needed. Orphea stepping forward, lands the Crushing Jaws onto Blaze, who drops the bunker to avoid the damage. Cassia going in for the fend here. They need to be careful. They don't really have a lot of their team around to help them out. We're going to see Decker coming in with another beautiful stay a while and listen. And there's the Valkyrie onto Raynor. Cassia pulling Raynor way out of position. The Chomp follow-up. We're going to see Raynor fall. Blaze is now caught a little bit out of position, and they are just running it down at this point. Down goes Blaze as well. Mephisto, shading Mephisto, trying to stay alive here, is still back behind enemy lines and looking like he might be in a bit of trouble. Dumping a lot of damage onto the members of BG 40 seconds to feed, but ultimately, we're going to see him fall, and these spiders are in favor of BG 40 seconds to feed. Excellent time for them to get the pickoffs that they need. They're going to get some great value out of this turn-in. All right. Pushing on to that mid fort now. We're going to see that fall in favor of BG 40 seconds to feed. Top fort goes down as well. And it looks like bottom is going to fall. Members of BG 40 seconds to feed setting up for the push onto top lane. We have the Durance come out. It connects onto Orphea. Decker getting caught in it as well as Uther. But not quite the follow-up we needed there for Phoenix Rising Topaz to do anything off of that. But Blaze coming in for the flank here. Stay a while and listen was interrupted. We have the Falling Sword from Joanna. That's going to connect onto the Mei. And now the big Crushing Jaws. Mephisto getting caught in that. The bunkers drop, but he is able to shade a Mephisto out of it. It's actually, sorry, I think it's Raynor that got caught in that. And he's going to go down. Blaze going down as well after coming out of his bunker, and Mephisto also now caught out of position. Anna doing all she can to try and heal through that, but unfortunately 3 members of Phoenix Rising Topaz getting picked off here. Looks like BG 40 seconds to feed is making the call to go for top keep. Leoric is going to get a turn in while this happens, but we're still looking at another 15 seconds until Mephisto's up, another 5 seconds until Blaze is up at this point, and these spiders for the most part are going to be spawning way back on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz, so it's almost just like a defense turn in. They might not get very much out of these spiders. I mean, bottom fort likely is going to fall here. It's a bit of a bigger rotation for them to clear that up, and there's already minions starting to help siege it down there, but we'll just have to see. They don't even have their level 16s online, so it's going to be a little bit tricky here for them to try and get much out of these spiders. I think they're probably, just looking at the positioning of where people are, they're probably going to secure that mid fort likely. If they can get the pick onto Cassia here, that would be pretty handy just to get, you know, a little bit more favored in the fight. But here is the flank with the Falling Sword. Oh, the Cassia Valkyrie, and then Orphea to follow up with the Chomp. Crushing Jaws comes out from Orphea. We have Mephisto once again kind of stuck in the back line using his shade to Mephisto. But unfortunately, that's not going to save him. Bunker drop by Blaze. Lothar turning around to try and maybe get some more poke damage out. And that's going to be 2 members down on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz. Oh, Falling Sword. Such a fun talent on Joanna. I want to play Falling Sword Joanna, but nobody ever wants a Falling Sword Joanna. It works here with the Uther though, because you still have like front line and some CC provided when Joanna's in the air going in for the engage, and yeah. Yeah, I just think if there's one way to make Joanna fun, it's taking Falling Sword. And then past that, she's just like very bland tank to play. Definitely an effective tank, but not the most engaging tank. Alright, turn in up and available here for BG 40 seconds to feed. We just saw a couple members drop their gems that they had. We see the Bruiser Camp picked up by Phoenix Rising Topaz. Right now, BG 40 seconds to feed is very well on their way to level 20s. There's no turn-in up and available for Phoenix Rising Topaz, so it's not like they have to force anything here or look to defend. They can, if they would like to, just kind of sit back, wait for those level 20s to come online, and then look for the fight that's in their favor here. They're going to pick up their Bruiser Camp. That's going to give them a little bit more XP, clear out that mid lane, but they really don't need to be giving Phoenix Rising Topaz an opportunity to take a fight pre-20 at this point. They're looking for that turn in. Mephisto scouted them out. The rest of the members not quite around to follow up with that. Does look like they're going to be able to sneak in the gems they need here. This is going to be a turn in favor of BG 40 seconds to feed. I mean, right now, fortunately for Phoenix Rising Topaz, they are on equal talent tiers. Ultimates are up here for them for the defense. Top lane is pushed out pretty decently. Bottom lane is pushed out a bit as well. So they kind of are going to have these spiders staggering in, and they don't have to worry about multiple lanes being pressured at the same time. They can set up the defense mid, then look to maybe set up the defense bottom, and then head top. Oh, there's the Valkyrie. It's going to connect onto Blaze, but he gets kind of stuck on the wall on the way out. The Sailwind Listen comes out from Deckard. Hyperion's being popped as well. Bunker goes down from the Blaze. The back line, Leoric just wraithing through everyone, trying to do a little bit of damage reduction. We're going to see the Divine Shield, Divine Shield being popped on Jinxie to keep her alive here. And that's all that really BG 40 seconds to feed can do at this time. They just need to back off, get healed up, and look for an opportunity to do something elsewhere. That bottom spider here going down, and they do make the rotation here. Cassia walking in, fend onto so many people. Oh my gosh, everyone, it's a bloodbath. Raynor goes down, Mephisto goes down, and Anna is down as well. Leoric the only one able to walk away from that as Blaze was clearing top. They're making a call for the keep here with 3 members down, 30-second death timers. There's a chance that they also look to end. They have those level 20s online now as well. Let's see if they can do it. The thing is, with Cassia down, Orphea is not really the best at sieging. They're kind of missing just that sustained damage to shred through these forts in the keep, so they might struggle to finish here without her alive, and we are going to see them back off. They can't end quite yet. They do have turn-in up and available, though, so we're going to see McGiblets. He's 56 gems on McGiblets alone, and Jinxie with another 7, looking to get those turned in. We need one more person, I think, to turn in just a couple gems. That Siege Giant camp going to get picked up. But Tetra has 6 gems, so we're just waiting for the Joanna to turn in for this next spider phase. And it looks like Phoenix Rising Topaz doesn't want to try to take the fight down those level 20s. Can't say I blame them there. But this is going to be essentially a free turn in for BG 40 seconds to feed here. Gonna step forward, clear out that bottom lane. Now their bottom keep is already down, so they do have to worry about that collapsing onto the core. And BG 40 seconds to feed is already setting up in the mid lane, ready to siege in with whatever spider spawns here. All right, here's the Hyperion drop by Raynor to try and just push them back on the defense here. Mephisto's been shading in, trying to just get some nice damage out with his Lightning Nova. And that spider is getting shredded down pretty quickly here. We're going to see it fall before BG 40 seconds to feed can really do much with it. Blaze going in for the stun on Joanna, but pop that Iron Skin, and she is able to avoid that. But a huge Valkyrie from the Cassia. Once again, the Crushing Jaw to follow it all up. Stale Wild Listen comes out from Deckard. Blaze is able to charge on out of there. Lothair getting chased down a little bit here. Let's see if they can find the damage to get the pick on him. Cassie going in for the fend, but he's knocked back with a Raynor Q. They still have yet to secure that keep mid, but with Mephisto down, oh my goodness, the Uther level 20 ult. They're going to go for core here. Blaze coming in, gets that stun onto Uther. The spider in this top lane is helping out with the core damage as well. McGiblet's taking a little bit of tower damage from that mid keep that they haven't quite got down, but Mephisto is going to fall. Uther falls as well. Big silence in 2, but game number 2 going over to the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. We have a game 3, and I couldn't be more excited about it. These matches have been so close here. I'm pumped to see what happens going into game number 3. I mean, there you have it. The 5-man Divine Shield. Yeah, the level 20 is kind of funny. Much much more dominant game for sure though in game 2. Game number 1 was very close. You know, you kind of had both teams with a keep down. I think it was like, you know, 13 to 14 in kills, but this time BG 40 seconds to feed just showing up here. A little bit more of a bloodbath, 16 to 4 in kills to end this series off. So the Joanna offlane, interesting pickup. Looked like it worked here. I kind of loved some of the flanks that were happening from Deckard and Joanna with the falling swords and the stay a while and listens. And the Cassia Valkyries were on point. Like some of those Valkyries in the late game just really gave them a momentum that they needed to just keep this game rolling in their favor and ultimately close out the game here. I'm gonna pop overly those talents up for just a moment while I give my voice a break. Also just kind of updating my notes here. So because Phoenix Rising Topaz lost that game, they're going to be giving first pick or map pick here. So we're just waiting for that lobby to come up. Kind of taking a peek at some of the talents picked up, and I think for the most part, nothing too crazy talented into here. And usually on the Orcs, you see them if they take the Ominous Wraith at 13, they're also taking the Wraith talent here as well, but opted for the full duration. You get the instantly deals an additional 15% of the target's maximum health as damage. Maybe just wanted to try and shred through the Joanna or the Uther potentially. We do have that next lobby up now, so let me pop on over there. I'll finish updating my notes, update the map overlay, and I'll let you know where we're going for game number 3 here in just a moment. All right. Oh, the readies are coming out. Let me update the score too, because we are 1-1 in this series, heading into game number 3. All right. If you guys are just tuning in, game number 1 was played on Volskaya Foundry. That one picked by Phoenix Rising Topaz and the win going over there as well. Game number 2, we went to Tomb of the Spider Queen, this time picked by BG 40 Seconds to Feed. They pick up the win there and get themselves on the board here. And we're looking at game number 3 on Alterac Pass. This is a pick once again by Phoenix Rising Topaz, meaning first pick is over to the side of BG 40 Seconds to Feed. It's this is an interesting matchup because I'm so used to teams just picking first pick whenever they have the opportunity here. But this evening, these two teams have been prioritizing map picks after losing. And even off the coin toss as well. All right, we're going to get into this. Game number 3 here. The winner takes it all. See if they stick to some of the same bands over on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz. I wouldn't be surprised if at this point they mix up their bans a little bit, just because game number 1 was so close and game number 2 really favored BG 40 seconds to feed. They might consider banning some of the picks that we saw in both game 1 and 2, such as the Joanna. We're gonna stick with the Chromie ban here. Sanyo's another ban that we saw BG 40 seconds to feed ban in both game 1 and 2. So not too surprised to see that come out again. Part of that is just because she's such a strong hero right now. Alright, the Ragnaros ban coming out. Interesting. We haven't seen anyone play Rag. You know, typically you see a Rag, a popular map to pick that up on is Tomb, and they didn't take him last game. So I'm wondering if maybe there's just some scouting that's happened there. They've seen them specifically play Rag on this map. Same bans happening here for the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz. They stuck with Chromie Gazlo every single game so far in this series, and they're going to stick with it here. Brightwing picked up first for BG 40 seconds to feed. Phoenix Rising Topaz going with a Hanzo and ETC to kick off their draft.
Victory for the Forsaken.
Alright, we're going to see Zool and Sylvanas locked in here for BG 40 seconds to feed. So Brightwing, I like Brightwing in general. She's a pretty decent healer right now. But additionally, she can kind of sit in those lanes further away from objective and get a little bit extra soak before, you know, phase shifting in to help her team contest objective and fight at objective. Sylvanas is very great in general for when you win the objective, just for shutting down those front towers and forts and keeps, just to kind of let the riders roll in and really siege it down. We're going to see the Leoric ban here now. Joanna was banned out this time by Phoenix Rising Topaz. This is one that I was thinking, you know, after game number 1 and 2, we saw Joanna come out twice, once by Jinxie, once by Tetcher. It might not be a bad idea to take the Joanna away, because it seemed like a pretty key piece to some of the things they were trying to run. In game number 1, Joanna was setting up the Durances for Mephisto with her Blessed Shield and Condemns. In game number 2, the flanks that were coming out from the Falling Sword Joanna was also pretty key to turning some of those fights. Stukov locked in here, as well as Kael'thas for the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz. And let's see what BG 40 seconds to feed goes here. Is it going to be a main tank Uther once again? Oh, all right. Callie. I don't know if my mic's picking her up, but she's just being whiny. Come here. You're okay. All right, May and Azmodan here for BG 40 seconds to feed. You know, the kind of nice thing is Azmodan can provide a bit of stall for the objective here with his globes, but you know, it's pretty long cooldown on the Q, so maybe just one interrupt. Nothing like a Li Ming that has like the cooldown on her, or a Chromie or a Junkrat or something who can just like consistently sit behind the wall and poke down anyone trying to channel here. Last pickup over on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz is going to be the Dahaka. So we at least have another global here to kind of match Brightwing in lane if she decides to kind of sit down there and wait till the last second to phase shift in and join the fight. All right, this is game number 3 between PG 40 seconds to feed and Phoenix Rising Topaz. So whoever takes this series or takes this game will take the series as well. I'll say the one thing that could potentially become an issue for BG 40 seconds to feed going to this game is May's a tank that really likes to engage and get in there with her icing and kind of create some havoc in the back line. But there's not really anyone else that's going to be a beat. Oops. Yep, you lost the mic. I think that there's... I haven't figured it out, and I should probably look into it because it just happens so rarely. I think there's a hotkey that mutes my mic in my OBS, and I don't know what it is. Like, it's maybe like, you know, once a month I do it. Not on purpose. Other times I know I've muted myself, but there we go. Typically you see teams pick up these camps here in that at the 1 minute mark because the timers on them are so low. You can get it out again before objective. So we do see both teams grabbing their siege camps pretty much at the same time here. Interestingly, you know, ETC matching the Zool in the bottom lane. I think this is a little bit awkward here because now you don't have your tank in that mid lane to kind of just be a front wall, create a little bit of an area for your team to kind of clear up the siege camp over on the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. Thought you were AFK? No. Nope. Just like, would it be a Jazzy cast without some technical difficulties? Absolutely not. So like I said, it's a little bit awkward here because there's no front line to kind of step up, create some space for these DPS to step forward and kill that siege camp. So they were able to walk it straight in here, and the wave continues to be like in favor of BG 40 seconds to feed in this mid lane. You could have Hanzo or Kael'thas in the bottom lane into the Zool and just be able to poke and clear the minion wave from safety. Have Asmo in that top lane facing off into Dahaka as well. And Dahaka's you know, a little bit struggling to keep this lane cleared and pushed back there. There's the phase shift coming in from Brightwing to help out up there as well. Taking a look at those level 1 quests talents here. Asmodan did talent into Greed, so he's looking for those stacks on, I believe it's, yeah, 20% more damage to non-heroic targets. But currently sitting at 38 stacks in total for that baseline and the level 1 quest there. And we have Zool talenting into the level 4 quest, so he's taking the jailers there. Something to keep in mind is that little extra annoyance on the Zool with his creep. A lot of questing talents getting picked up here as this for the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz. We're going to see the channel start up here for them, and they're going to start here 28 seconds before they will have riders in favor. I notice a lot of Mei players don't grab spell armor anymore. Strange. I mean, yeah, it's typically, if it's not spell armor, it's the icing talent that I've been seeing Maze play. I think it just depends on what you're playing into. I don't think it would have been horrible here with the Hanzo. Kael'thas, definitely an argument for it, but I wouldn't say that it's unusual to see Maze go icing at level 4 at all. So this first objective pretty easily secured by Phoenix Rising Topaz, but in return, they've had their mid lane pushed in by Sylvanas. We've had Azmodan soaking top the entire time, and Zul and Brightwing are working away on bottom. We're going to see the phase shift coming in onto McGiblets here, and now a bit of damage being dumped onto Dahaka. He's going to be able to walk away here, hits the fountain, and we'll be back up to full health in just a moment. I believe it's... You're asking about Maze level 4, right? I'm not saying this with confidence because I don't have all of her talents memorized and I have like literally a level 3 May, but I believe it's after she cryostasis, she has spell armor. But again, don't quote me. Probably people in chat would know a lot better than I do. All right, that top rider cleared up. The mid rider cleared up as well. Lothar taking a little bit of damage from the Sylvanas here. Sylvanas needs to be quite careful. She's pretty low herself. Meanwhile, on the bottom, that rider's still hanging around for a moment. Tetra's having to back after taking some damage from the ETC, and Kael'thas pushing in this bottom lane. We're going to see Jinxie rotate down here, and in terms of XP, both these teams looking pretty even. Now, I was mentioning all the questing talents over on the side of Phoenix Rising Topaz. Hanzo taking target practice here, so he's looking to get every person on the side of PG 40 seconds to feed hit with his Q 3 times there. So he's got one person completed. ETC is taking prog rock, so he's looking for globes. Kael'thas also looking for globes, so he has that shield to pop whenever he needs it. And Dahaka taking enhanced agility. Just to give him that little extra move speed. We have the Hanzo arrow coming in, but it does not connect. Swing and a miss there. Phase shift connecting onto McGiblets, though, to heal him up. And it looks like for now, Phoenix Rising Topaz trying to back out. But here's May in with the Avalanche. Those level 10s online now. Sending Kael'thas into the back towers. A polymorph to follow it up. We're going to see him fall into Haka. Trying to walk away here. Icing coming out from May. Trying to knock him back in. Wailing arrow connecting from Sylvanas. And we're going to see Azmodan dropping the ultimate. Demons. The demonic invasion getting picked up by Azmodan to just really kind of siege down these structures. You know, split push Azmodan, it works. It does work sometimes.
More of our soldiers have been taken prisoner. Let's take them back.
Thanks, Luminaire. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for dropping that in chat, Luminaire. I didn't have the talent memorized, I'm not gonna lie. I try my best to have it all memorized, but it's a work in progress. Linehouse, a little bit of awkward positioning here. Gonna drop that Emerald Window to allow himself to walk away. Sylvanas banshing through for the disengage. Channel was started there, but only a few seconds in favor of BG 40 seconds to feed. We're going to see Azmodan just continue to siege up bottom, and I have a feeling that they're not worried about winning these objectives. They're happy to just take forts here, but we have the Sylvanas on the flank looking at the Kael'thas, trying to get the last hit in there. Kael'thas having to back off. We have the Stukov heals being spread now. They are able to push back the members of Phoenix Rising Topaz, which is no easy feat there, because that was a 4v5 in favor of Phoenix Rising. Azmodan, meanwhile, running it down in the bottom, did use that demonic invasion once again, and this bottom fort is going to go down. Dahaka did use his burrow to come down and meet there and clear up the lane, but the fort's down at this point, and Azmo's done what he needed to do. He can now join his team, look to help contest this objective, and wait till his demonic invasion is up again to go for another fort or keep at this point. Dahaka is not going to be able to join in here. We have a big avalanche coming out from Jinxie. It's going to send ETC and Kael'thas back away from the team here. The Skeletal Mage is also getting dropped by Zul there as well. Quite a few ultimates down over on the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. Just Brightwing left with that Emerald Win. We see Asmo soak that top lane once again. Just continue to create pressure. It's definitely an interesting way to play the map, is kind of, we don't care about objective because we're just going to siege everything down anyways, and we don't need the objective to do that. Brightwing has rotated down bottom to get this soak. She is going to be able to phase shift in top. So I like that they're leaving their global down there instead of somebody who needs to mount and walk up here. Those siege camps getting picked up. ETC walking over to scout out the objective area here. Jinxie Cat taking quite a bit of poke damage here. That Hanzo just pumping out the damage. The siege camp's going to pressure in onto the mid fort of Phoenix Rising Topaz, but they do manage to get the channel off here. Let's see what they can do with it. Kael'thas, or Hanzo, way out of position there, is going to fall. And it looks like Phoenix Rising Topaz has to back off at this point. Down a player, and their mid fort being pressured right now. They are going to clear up this mid fort, wait for Hanzo to come back up, and maybe they can contest once again. About 14 seconds until Hanzo is up, and they still need 27 seconds channeled on this objective before they secure it. We have Dahaka coming in, but the polymorph going out from Brightwing. There's the Dahaka ult coming out. The Avalanche connecting onto ETC, sending him into the backline. Stukov getting power slid through by, or sorry, Zool getting power slid through by ETC. Mei now caught in the gravity lapse. You have that bomb dropped onto her. Phase shift coming out from Brightwing. That's going to heal up the Mei. And now the big wailing arrow from Sylvanas. Dahaka's going to fall. And it does look like BG 40 seconds to feed able to secure this objective in their favor. They already have 2 forts down. Let's see what they can do with the riders now to help them. They've been just running it down with the demonic invasions and Azmodan. So we're just going to have to see, you know, how much more damage are they going to do now that they actually have the objective to help them run it down in these lanes as well. Level 16 is very close to being online for them here. So they potentially are looking at trying to secure some keeps. Who seemed to you to recall everything about the game? Oh my goodness. I don't, I try because I want to come to cast with as much knowledge as possible, but this by no means is my full-time job, so I don't have all the time in the world to memorize every single talent on every single hero, but I do really, really try my best. At least the ones that I play and are pretty familiar with, I'm aware of what the talents do. For the most part. We do have those level 16s hit now for BG 40 seconds to feed. ETC going in for the power slide. Jinxie Cat getting caught in that gravity lapse from Kael'thas. Going to pop into her cryostasis to try and stay alive. That silence is underneath. Walking away now. Looking to disengage. They're not able to get any picks onto BG 40 seconds to feed. And meanwhile, Zool has just been running it down top. So that was a 4v5 in favor of Phoenix Rising Topaz in that bottom lane. Without those level 16s online, they just weren't able to do anything with the man advantage there. And in fact, they're going to lose their top keep, and now mid fort being pressured here. Sylvanas shutting it down with her trait. Jobber getting in trouble here, is going to dig underground, pop the essence to get himself healed up. The wailing arrow coming out from Sylvanas once again. Stukov trying to catch Mei as she disengages here. Gravity lapse connecting on, but they aren't quite able to make anything work here. All of the members of BG 40 seconds to feed able to walk away. We're a little over a level lead here now on the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. Bosses are up, so that's something we could see these teams make a play for at some point, especially at this point in the game where death timers are at about the right time that you can sneak in a boss or take a boss off the map while one of the members of the enemy team are down here. We have those siege camps getting picked up once again. Azmodan working on clearing the siege camp of Phoenix Rising Topaz while the rest of his members head top to pick up the top boss. Meanwhile, Phoenix Rising Topaz, you know, they kind of recognize what potentially is happening here and are going to take this opportunity to also grab a boss themselves. So we're just going to see a boss trade here. However, this top boss is going straight to the core of Phoenix Rising Topaz. They also have to worry about that siege camp that's starting to collapse on the mid fort here, getting some damage into that front wall right now.
You know what to do.
Looks like this is could have been a potentially risky play here to stick around and get that fort, but they're gonna back now. The boss is still heading in top lane. It hasn't quite made it towards the core yet, but if they were collapsed on there by BG 40 seconds to feed, hanging around in that bottom lane a little bit extra long, you know, BG 40 seconds to feed could have potentially looked to end the game after getting kills there with a boss heading towards the core. Right now, BG 40 seconds to feed, well on their way to hitting those level 20 first. We do have that boss on the core. Core's going to take a little bit of damage, but the nice thing about Alterac Pass is your core does regenerate health and is actually quite good at clearing minions off of it here. They're just going to let the boss finish up that boss. They're going to let the boss finish off they're going to let the core finish off the boss. There we go. Got it out. And head towards objective because the channel has already been started by BG 40 seconds to feed. Poke-Flute's now starting to cancel that channel there. Brightwing having to use her Emerald Wind after getting tongued by Dahaka. So close to level 20 here. If I'm on the side of BG 40 seconds to feed, I'm just sitting back, chilling for a minute, and letting those level 20s come online. I don't want to give them an opportunity here to take a team fight on equal talent tiers. So we're going to see Asmodean just try to poke it down. Tetra stepping forward to also deny the channel onto this objective here. Oh, they're not quite. They're so close to level 20s. Those level 20s just a little bit more. They can do it. And there we go. Level 20 is online here. We're going to see those locked in for the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. Let's see if they can make something work off of it. We have Zool walking in here. Gets silenced by the Dahaka, though. Brightwing having to use a phase shift onto Sylvanas. She did Banshee in there and paid for it with a lot of damage taken off her health bar. She's stepping forward into the Hanzo, and she's going to win that 1v1 there. She manages to get the pick onto Hanzo. Here's ETC coming in for the power slide onto Tetra. Here is getting quite low, needing to back off. The rest of the members are going to chase down and create space for him. The Avalanche sending ETC into the back line of BG 40 seconds to feed. And they are going to secure 2 kills to 0 in favor of BG 40 seconds to feed. Now take a look at mid because they have that siege camp pushing forward here with the help of Katas, heading towards the core. Like I said, the core does clear itself a bit here on this map in particular, but still need to worry about too much pressure building there. Asmodean coming in, dropping his demons. Doesn't quite have the demonic invasion up. He did just use that, so it's still a 60-second cooldown here, but he has his demon lords to use every once in a while. Kael'thas wandering a little bit too far out of the base here, potentially. Everybody collapsing onto here. Asmodean sending out the globe. The root connecting from Tetra there, dropping the bone prison onto him, and they're going to get the pick onto Kael'thas. Brightwing getting quite low. Needs to back off, maybe watch her positioning a little bit here. Kind of dangerous for her to stick around too close and get collapsed on. Emerald Wind did get used here, and we have the stage dive now coming out from ETC. The Avalanche to try and disengage that power slide through Tetra and McGilblitz, but the team just not quite able to do anything off of that. And in fact, we're going to see ETC fall. The Riders going over in favor of BG 40 seconds to feed, and they're looking to end this game now. Zool did pop that ultimate just to slow them, and now May going in to help secure those kills. Look at this, a 3-man kill over on to Zool here, and core call coming out. GG's being called in chat. It's looking like game number 2 going over to the side of BG 40 seconds to feed. GG's and well played. We have the reverse sweep happening here. All right, let's take a quick peek at this match summary. And then we're going to hit up BG 40 seconds to feed and do a quick interview. Clean game here for BG 40 seconds to feed. Not a single player going down once in that entire match. 10-0 in kills. Take bets on how long it takes BG 40 to report the match now. All right. So, laser build on the Asmodean, you know, something that I've seen a couple other players like to run here. And you just kind of do exactly what Asmo did, is run it down when you have that demonic invasion and just go take a fort when and where you can and open up the map pretty early in the game. I don't feel like I saw Stage Dive get as much value as it could have. Like, I don't even remember it. I don't even remember really doing much in this. So I don't know, maybe Mosh would have been a better pick. They do have the Wailing Arrow and the Avalanche to even the Emerald Wind can cancel a Mosh out, but just maybe having the threat of needing to hold those abilities like the Avalanche and the Wailing Arrow with a Mosh pickup might have been a little bit better here, because Stage dive just wasn't quite working for their team. You know, you have the Hanzo ultimate. You pair the Hanzo puts in his ultimate first, and it just sets up a really easy power slide in Mosh potential combo here.
What are you up to?
All right, let's reach out to BG 40 Seconds of Feed. Let's see if they want to do an interview here. Before we wrap things up, we'll head on over to me. And I will reach out to them here. Oh, Tetcher, thanks for the follow. Oh. Can you wait like 5 minutes?
No, my break.
Oh, Scott's rating right now, so he's on break and the dog wants to play. I'm like, maybe just wait until I'm done this little interview. It looks like we're gonna have somebody from BG 40 Seconds to Feed joining us in just a moment here. And I'm gonna update that score for you guys as well, so there's no confusion.
Hello there.
Hello, Jinxie. Congrats on the win. How are you guys feeling after that series? Nice reverse sweep there.
Actually, now that all the adrenaline is off and we've won, I mean, I was just telling the team, like, I feel like a potato. Like, they put up such a good every second that we were in there. It was just really, really tense.
Now, today was interesting for me because I think almost all of my cast people prioritize taking first pick here, but both teams going with map picks tonight. So can you talk me through a little bit of what your team's thinking? Do you have strategies you have to run or just maps you prefer over, first pick priority here?
So we do like certain maps, is why we'll go there, but we also really like having that last pick. Everybody always wants that first hero is super powerful. When you have that last pick, you have a chance to look at their draft and then say, okay, this is what we need to succeed, and then counter it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to talk a little bit about your guys' draft as well. Specifically, game number 2 here. Interesting pickup there. Joanna going for your offlane and then the Uther main tank. And I was a little bit curious with the Orphea pickup if you guys are maybe trying to get a Leoric in there for your last pick.
So, actually, we just comes down to Gibbs. He's our mage player. We're like, what do you want to play that clears waves? He's like, well, do you want more CC or do you want more burst damage? We looked at their comp and we were like, we need more burst damage, and that's why I picked the Orphea. We were a little bit panicked, kind of, about the off lane, and Tetcher said, this feels right in my heart. I think this is correct. And then one of our members like, wait, they have an Ana, and we were like, oh no! And then Snag had the genius idea. He was like, switch it. And it's actually kind of funny because every time I'm here with you, you're like, are you gonna pull out the Uther tank? Like whenever we're doing GGS,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it out for Jazzy. Like so that was for you.
No, it was interesting. I mean, it's not very often you see Joanna off in the off lane, but you guys had some fantastic flanks. Decker came in a few times that match with some beautiful stay a while and listens on the flank, and Joanna as well with the falling swords. And I mean, that's like the one way to make Joanna fun to play. So I was a little bit jealous.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to also talk about your draft in game number 3 there. I really liked your guys' idea just to be like, you know what? We don't really need objective. We're just going to run it down while they, fight it out over there. And it worked. You guys got a nice lead there. So just shout out to you guys, playing the game a little differently than everyone expects and you see for the most part. It was entertaining, that's for sure.
Thank you. That is under our, actually we have all these comp ideas. It's called Dumb Comps Gibbs Made. And We played in Storm League. This is the first time we got to pull it out, and it worked well for us.
Good. My one last question is going into game number 3, we had a Ragnaros band coming out, and I was wondering, did you just see them play Ragnaros on Alterac specifically because that was a map pick there? Because it was up for game number 2, and that's Tomb of the Spider Queen. That's another map that Reg typically gets picked on, so I was surprised if it Ragwery was there. We didn't see it in game 2, but we saw game 3, so can you just give me a little insight onto that band?
Yeah, so we were kind of looking at things that would make our comp more difficult to execute, and the lava wave constantly pushing through would have made that harder. So we were just like, get rid of the rag.
Yeah, totally. What a great call there. Well, let's get into some shoutouts. Well, actually, how long's your team been playing for, first of all? Because I meant to ask you that. I know that you've been playing in NGS seasons a bunch before, but this team in particular, in this roster, how long have you been playing?
So this is our first season together, actually. We played in like a minor tournament outside of this, but we've only been playing together for just a couple of months now.
And the team name, can you explain that?
So everybody's played in NGS before. We always make jokes that Snag runs it down, and then part of the Discord community we all met through and became friends through is called Beat Gen. So
Okay. Yeah.
We're BG, 40 seconds to feed. One of us usually feeds in the first 40 seconds of any game, so tonight was probably an exception.
All right, let's go ahead and get into some shout-outs here before we wrap things up, Jinxie.
Sure thing. Well, first and foremost, a big shout out to Phoenix Rising Topaz. They put up a really fantastic fight. It was a really fun series. Sometimes you come in and you roll, sometimes you come in and you get rolled, and this felt really even, and it was exciting to play. So big shout out to them. Shout out to the team for just letting us all go with our guts, playing well, great communication in those games, never getting salty when something went wrong or a miscommunication was had. Big shout out to you. We appreciate you casting. Thursdays are so hard to get casters, so we appreciate that. Big shouts to the Beat Gen and all of our friends who are currently watching. I see a couple of y'all here, so big shouts to them.
All right, well, congrats on the win once again. I look forward to seeing how Div B Southeast plays out, and I wish your team the best of luck in season 11 of NGS. And it was great talking to you. Have a fantastic night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. All right, so once again, congrats to BG. 40 seconds to feed here. We're going to take a look, see if there's someone we want to send you guys on over to for the rest of the night. But if you're looking to catch some more streams, it's going to be streamed tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and a stream on Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time that you are more than welcome to tune in for. But my next NGS cast, I don't have that quite scheduled in yet, but I usually cast 5 times a week, so keep an eye out if you guys want to join my Discord. I post a weekly schedule there, usually on Sundays or Mondays once I have everything scheduled into my calendar and picked up the cast. So if you're interested in watching more of my cast, make sure to go join my Discord and check out my scheduling chat in there. And you can follow me on Twitter as well. Oh, my pleasure. Thanks, honestly. You guys are too sweet. Let's see if we can find a cast. Why don't we? Oh, IceX is casting NGS as well right now. Let me see if they're still going here. Because we can send you on over there. It does look like they're about to end. Is Jinxie still going? We'll just send you to Jinxie. All right. So I'm going to send you on over to Jinxie. She's the captain of BG 40 Seconds to Feed. Make sure you drop her a follow if you don't already. She's an amazing caster and obviously has a pretty awesome NGS team as well here. So go drop her a follow, and I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. I'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Hope to see you there. Until then, stay safe out there, and thank you so much for tuning in.